Hey everyone, welcome back. This is my second video in my series of movie reviews for movies that I saw over Valentine's Day weekend. If you missed my last one, which was Judas and the Black Messiah, you can click the link at the top or you can click the link at the end card. To All the Boys, Always and Forever is the third and final installment of the To All the Boys franchise on Netflix. It's once again directed by Michael Fimagnari and stars Lana Condor and Noah Centineo. As I said, this is the final movie in the franchise, and it follows Lara Jean, Peter, and their classmates as they're getting ready to graduate and go to college. Lara Jean and Peter are at a crossroads in their relationship when their future in college becomes uncertain. Up to this point, I would say I have enjoyed these movies. The first one a lot more than the second. I think it was a pleasant surprise back in 2018. The second one had some issues, but I think I was still invested in the characters and where the story was going, so I was interested to see what the third one was going to be like. Fortunately, I think this movie went back to what made the first one so good. Now, it's not as good as the first one, but I definitely found this one more engaging than the second one. And I also think it's the most grounded of the franchise. I enjoyed this movie, and I do think the ending was a good ending for both this film and the franchise as a whole. The characters ended in a place which I think made a lot of sense for who they were and who they've been developed to be over this series, and I do think this one is worth watching. The biggest thing this movie focuses on is the dynamic of Peter and Lara Jean's relationship as they're trying to figure out where they're going to college and if they're going to even go to college together. Now, without getting too much into spoilers, the movie does kind of start off with the misunderstanding cliche where one character gets the wrong idea about something and then the other character has to tell them the truth. Now, thankfully, they don't drag that on for the whole movie. That kind of gets resolved sort of quickly, I think, in the first act, I would say. But the rest of the movie, I think, does a really great job of exploring what it means for people of this age when they have to think about going to college, and sometimes it could be far away from home, it could be far away from their friends, their family. I think that's something that everybody can relate to. And then for people who are in relationships at the end of high school, they wonder, are we still going to be together? Are we going to break up? What's going to happen to us? And I think these are all questions that they explore really well in this movie. I did like where the characters were going. Some characters were a little more annoying in previous entries, but I think they kind of got it right here. Kitty, for example, is a lot more bearable in this movie than I think she was in the other two, because in the other two, she just really seemed to be meddling and just making a mess of everything. But here, they kind of give her own story. It's not focused on as much, but she's not as much in the mix. Her performance is good. I don't have anything against the actress. I just don't like how that character was written, at least in the first two movies, but here I think she was a lot more enjoyable. Even though Peter and Lara Jean are the main couple of this movie, they do explore some other relationships throughout it. There's the sister relationship between Lara Jean and her sisters. There's the romantic relationship between Lara Jean's father and his girlfriend. And then there's also an introduction of Peter's dad, and they explore how that all works. And that I will get into later because there's one thing I kind of had a problem with, but overall, I do think they do a good job of exploring these different dynamics going on throughout the movie. And some relationships have changed over the course of the trilogy. For example, Lara Jean and Genevieve are now cool with each other, even though in the other two movies she was kind of a jerk. But they did explain why she was that way, and so it does make sense why they're cool now. But then they also see a rivalry between Chris and Genevieve. So I was kind of confused why Lara Jean was able to work out her issues with Genevieve, but then Chris wasn't. I mean, I guess it's a deeper issue, but at least in the first half of the movie, I wasn't too sure why one relationship was working and the other wasn't. I think the movie does a good job of exploring how Lara Jean is so conflicted about her choice of colleges. It's kind of between her relationship with Peter and what she wants to do with the rest of her life, what she wants to study, what's the best location for her. And I think the message that this movie has that I think would really resonate with people who are in this position is that you don't necessarily have to choose one or the other. You can have both. But when it comes to college, it's best to pick what's best for your career, where you'll be the most happy, what you can afford. Like, there's so many factors to it besides whatever relationship you're in at the time. So if you're a high school senior or a college freshman watching the movie, I hope you get that message from it, that it's about doing what's best for you in the long run. And I think the movie did that really well. I also like that in the beginning, Peter does seem kind of on board with Lara Jean's initial decision, but then as things change, there's this conflict between them. But it never gets overblown. It feels natural. It feels like a real couple. It doesn't feel as over the top as the previous movies. In the first movie, I didn't mind it being a little over the top because that was kind of the premise. But then the second movie, I feel like it started to get a little too wrapped up in all this extra stuff that made it not as enjoyable. One thing I think that both worked and didn't work about this movie is this storyline with Peter and his dad. I think they did a good job of introducing the conflict and exploring why Peter has problems with his dad. But I think the resolution of it was kind of rushed. It kind of feels tacked on at the end. Whereas Lara Jean's conflict, I think, gets a more full exploration, and the ending to it makes a lot more sense. In terms of Noah Centineo's performance and Henry Thomas, who plays his dad, I think their performances were really good in the scenes they had together. I just think that the story that they were given could have been wrapped up a little bit better, but it didn't absolutely ruin the movie for me. Overall, I think this is still a very enjoyable movie. I wouldn't put it above the first one. I think this is right under To All the Boys I Loved Before, but I think this one has a lot less logic issues, at least from my opinion. The characters felt a lot more natural. The whole story felt more grounded. And I think this is a movie that can resonate with a lot of younger people, especially high school seniors and college freshmen. The verdict. I think To All the Boys, Always and Forever is a great time. So did you watch To All the Boys, Always and Forever this Valentine's Day weekend? What did you think about it? Let me know down in the comments. Also, don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe. And come back tomorrow for my review of Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.